Hi, I'm Hazzy, and today we will be unboxing the driving theory test, which is not in a box. But we will be uncovering the mysteries behind taking your driving theory test. Now, I did mine yesterday, so it's still quite fresh in my mind. It was the first time I've taken it, and I passed first time. So it's always nice, I think, to hear from someone who did it the first time round. First of all, I'm going to walk through what the test centre was like, how I found the test. When you first go to it, obviously you're a bag of nerves. It's like this big test, you need to do it to drive. Well, I was a bag of nerves anyway. So hopefully it will ease a few of your nerves, and if you have any extra questions, then feel free to comment down below and I will try my best to answer them. So first off, I did mine in Sheffield, and the place where it's done is called Orchard House, and it's near where Virgin Money is. There's like this little secret door around the corner, and you have to like put a buzzer and you go through. So the first task was finding this place. I typed it in on Google Maps and this other building came up and I was like, this doesn't seem right. So yeah, I did like a little walk around on Google Maps, and then I got my partner to scope the place out. So first task is finding your centre. Yeah, if you use Google Maps or you wander to where you think it is, and then you'll get an idea of where you are, and it will lessen the nerves on the day because you won't have to worry about being late because you can't find it. So when I got in, it was on the 3rd floor, so you went upstairs, then it was literally a door in front of you, and then you joined a queue. But then in the queue, this lady came up to me and gave me this laminate sheet, and she said, "Oh, is it your first time taking the theory test?" And I was like, yeah. So she got me to sit down, read through this laminate card that basically said all the rules on it. It was basically like no cheating, no taking stuff in. You're not allowed jackets with pockets in the exam room. Your mobile has to be switched off, and then they check that it's switched off. And no watches and like all this stuff you can't bring in. Basically, don't cheat during your test. That's a good tip as well if you're looking for that one. So once that was done, I rejoined the queue. Takes a while. I don't know why. Like when I went up, mine was really quick, but for some reason people in front of me took ages to get just their license checked. So yeah, you go up to the desk, you hand over your license, they check all your details. I think they ask for your postcode and date of birth so you know that it's you, although hopefully you are not taking it for somebody else, because that's classed as cheating, which was tip 2, don't do that. So yeah, once they've confirmed it's you, you get a locker key and you get your license back. They check your phone, check that's off. So you put all your stuff in a locker, including any jackets and pockets. And then in mine, you went through, there was like 2 separate rooms. You went through to a waiting area, and there was like test room 1, test room 2. Don't walk down the wrong way like I did. I was so nervous. I just, oh no, and then I did get it right in the end though. I did get the right room. That section of it, it's very odd. I ended up being like one of the few people who I was speaking to this guy behind me who was like absolutely lovely. It was his first time as well. And like I was saying how nervous I was, and I found it helped to like just to speak to somebody else. But I think you find like when you're in there, you seem to pick up when that lady goes around and goes like, "Oh, is this your first time?" Like you seem to hear all the no's, and you're like, "Oh my god, everybody here is just keeps doing it, and they're never gonna pass." And like it's not a good mindset to go into. So yeah, find another person who's not done it before, and make yourself feel a little bit better. All the staff there were absolutely lovely there, I have to say. They were all friendly, they all smiled. The lady especially outside the room where you take your test, she was lovely. So what you do before you go in, I decided to wear long sleeves that day. Very tight long sleeves, may I add. So you have to like roll them up if you've got them, and then they check you've got no writing. And then if you've got pockets, if you're a woman, you clearly don't have pockets because we don't get them. So I tried to turn mine out and realised I didn't have any, so that was fun. And then she signed you in on the computer, tells you which station you're at. So she's in like this glass thing, she can see everybody taking the test. You can see everybody taking the test at this point. She tells you which desk you're in, so you go in after she's checked you over, you sit down at the desk. You do like this practice bit where it basically just asks you, what colour is the grass? And then just to get you used to like clicking and the style and all of that. And then you go on to your theory test. I'll go over how I revised for it. I think I got 45 out of 50 and you need 43 to pass, so that's not too bad. So for this bit, it's literally just multiple choice questions. One tip I will give though, there is a button at the bottom that says flag. It does tell you all this before the test, but you can answer a question and press that button and then go next, and at the end you can review all your flagged questions, which I found was quite helpful because I gave an answer and then if I wasn't sure I was like, okay, I'll put it but I'll come back to it, and then other ones I was sure I just flicked through. A lot of people go back and check theirs over, but I didn't because I thought I'll just overanalyze it. There was a lot of questions that are just like, they're just common sense. So after that's done, you can go back and review any, if you don't answer any questions, there's an option to review all of them. If you don't answer them by the end of the end, then you won't get a mark from. So answer every question, even if you're not sure, give it your best go. And then you can go over any flagged ones, change your mind, keep it the same way that you did. And then you can click end test. I think for me, that took about 15-20 minutes. I think it was more the pressure of there was 8 questions that hadn't come up in my revision and I wasn't quite sure about. But then, like afterwards, a friend told me like, oh yeah, law of averages, like you're bound to pass if it's just 8 questions you've got, because you can only get 7 wrong. So I was like, wish I'd have thought of that during the test. But yeah, after that, when you've clicked end, that's it for that part of the test. You can't go back anymore. And then there's an optional break, so you can sit there and like twiddle your thumbs for like 3 minutes if that's what you fancy. I think I just like shuffled around a bit because I've been like really tense up here doing the questions. So yeah, I just had a good shuffle and then went on to the next section, which is your hazard perception, which I find the easiest, but there was a technique that I did. I got an app, and I'll try and find it and post it down below. But basically, whenever I did the practice versions of the hazard perception, I found I clicked too early. So I was too good at noticing hazards. So during the test, what I did was I clicked when I saw a developing hazard, clicked again about a second later, and then when it showed it was definitely a hazard, I clicked again. So I was like, I've definitely got some points here. So that was how that worked. If you do the practice ones, there's normally like a certain scenarios that will come up, like someone will come flying outside road, there'll be some motorcyclist doing something silly, or somebody doing something silly to a motorcyclist. But yeah, there's like the basic kinds of hazards that you'll get. When they happen, they're all pretty obvious, but don't feel afraid if you see something that you think could be a hazard. Just click. Obviously don't go mad and like click, oh my god, everything is a hazard. Don't do that, that's too much. But if there's something that you think could turn into a hazard, it doesn't matter, just click. It doesn't matter if it's the one that's right for the question, just click it. I think there's like maybe 1 or 2 clips that have 2 hazards that you have to spot. And don't get too bogged down with like, oh, there's 1 hazard, there's 2 hazards. But just get your mind off that, because otherwise you're going to be like, oh my god, was it that one, was it that one? But just click when you see a developing hazard. It's that easy. So when that's done, that's the end of the test. You can't go back and review any of those. For that one, I believe I got 60 out of 75, I think. So yeah, I'm pretty good at hazards, I would say. But once that's done, you've got the option of doing questions that they might include on future tests. At this point, I was like convinced I'd failed it based on the theory, because there was 8 questions I had not a clue the answer to. So I was like, okay, I'll do your possible future questions, because then if I have to do this test ever again, then I will have like a head start. That's what was going through my mind at that point. But obviously you don't have to do them. All the ones on that on mine were about extreme weather conditions, and they're all a bit crazy, so yeah, there was like a hurricane in one. But yeah, and after that you can answer questions on how you think everything went, how the staff were and all of that. So I clicked through because I thought the staff were really good. And then once that's done, you can click end, and then you leave that room. You go back to the person who is watching everyone from her glass box. She just checks your license again, logs you out, puts it through the system. And then you go to the front desk, and that's the horrible bit. So you go and collect your stuff first. Get yourself a bit composed, and then you go up to a person sitting at a counter, and they've basically got a letter, and as you come up, like, they're quickly folding it so you can't see what happened, and they like have to keep a straight face So like you're going up and you're like, I must have failed because he shows no joy. But yeah, he handed me mine. I was like, I'm not sure how this works. So they tell me now if I've passed. So he's like, oh yeah, you just lift this flap and then it tells you. So I lift it up and it was like, congratulations, you've passed. And then he smiled and I was like, yes, great, mate. So he was like, oh, I've taken it, you've just read it then. The staff, although they seem very serious, they're friendly people, they are looking out for you. They do want you to do well, they do want you to pass. But if anything goes wrong, don't take it out on them, it's really not their fault. So yeah, that was absolutely great. And then you just leave. So now I'll go over my revision tips. I unfortunately got a cold about 2 days before my test and I was just laid in bed. So I literally spent 2 days, well, like bits of 2 days, I had the TV on as well, reading these 2 books. Now if you're watching this and you've got it upcoming and you don't have these books and you want them, then drop me a comment down below, and if somebody wants them, I'll send them out to you. So first you've got your road signs. Now I find the best method for me to go through these was basically like flick through. If I felt like I knew them, carry on. But if there was like something I didn't know, I'm trying to find what I didn't know because I passed now, so I know what I'm doing. So yeah, take these are like lines on carriageways. So if there's an area and you get through to the book, like fine, skim read everything, and if there's something you're like, I didn't spot that, just read through it a few times and just keep reading, and then take a few minutes to move on to the next page, and then just skim through until you find something you're not sure about. Like the main bits I struggle with were all the various lines, because there's a lot of them. And then same thing for the highway code. It's a lot of rules. Found the page I struggled on. So again, I just like skim read everything, and then if there was something I didn't know, I just read through it several times. One of the ones particularly, that didn't come up in my test actually, one of the ones I particularly struggled with was stopping distances. I just could not seem to remember them. And then I thought of like an easy rule which may or may not help you. But I noticed that for every 10 miles per hour you increase, the stopping distance increases for about 10 metres roughly. But the question's not going to be like 32 metres or 34 metres or 36 metres. They're normally quite different, so I figured I could go with the rule that for every 10 miles per hour faster I went, it added an extra 10 metres onto my stopping distance, apart from when you get up to 50 miles per hour, and then after that it adds on 20 metres per stopping distance. So it goes like 10, 20, 30, 50, 70, 90 something. It doesn't matter what the second bit is. They don't make it that complicated. So that's my tip for remembering the stopping distances. Obviously, just reading stuff isn't quite enough. So I also had the DVSA app, which I will post something down below. I downloaded it because I did a lot of online mock tests, but I found at the end, a lot of the online ones didn't tell you what questions you got wrong, but just what areas. But I found for me it was more helpful to know exactly what questions I got wrong to get them right, because there isn't that many questions they can ask you during the test. I downloaded this app. I didn't really do much of, like, there was a practice mode on it where you just answered like a ton of questions. But I went for the mock test ones and just did mock test after mock test. If there was something I got wrong, I then looked up that area in my books so I could get it in my head, or I asked people who'd already passed theirs what the answer was, and then it just got it in my head. If you find that you learn in different ways, you don't learn from reading. There's plenty of videos out there that have various aspects of the highway code and questions that will be in the theory test. Obviously, Hazard Perception, it is a video, so the best way to practice is with a video. But there's plenty of apps, there's plenty of websites out there that have got Hazard Perception on it for free. I did pay, I think, $4.99 for my app, but I think that was worth it. I didn't want to do the test again. I will link the app down below. But yeah, the main thing is revise, and if you don't pass, then if you did flag those questions during the test, try and make a mental note of them, and there'll be the ones where you'll go away and you'll study the areas that they're around. You get like a letter afterwards and it does say the areas in which you got questions wrong. I know one of mine for definite that I got wrong was who uses green flashing lights, and I was like, I'd never read this and I'd never seen any, and I really wasn't sure, and it was between two and I picked a different one, but the answer was doctors. So if that comes up, the answer is doctors use green flashing lights, which seems fairly obvious. I don't know what went through my mind during the test. Yeah, so that is how my theory test went, how I revised. So hopefully somebody watching this, it will help. And if you've got yours coming up, good luck. Let me know how it goes. And if you want more books, then let me know in the comments down below. If there's more than one, I would like do a raffle or something. But if there's just one, I'll send them to you, whoever you are. That's it. Thank you for watching. If you did like this or found it even mildly helpful, then subscribe and also like this video. So yeah, bye.